What's up, everybody? Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I've been wanting to get into Apex content, I've been saying it, and we're going to start off with our first piece of non-patch note and update content, ranking Legends tiers based off of how I see or feel about them in Season 22, Split 2. For a little bit of context, if you aren't familiar with my stream, which is linked down below, by the way, come say hey live if you feel so inclined. I pretty much just play solo queue ranked. So that's kind of where my perspective has been formed, although I'll try to be as unbiased when it comes to my perspective as possible, though some of that bias may creep in. Before we start, like I said, Twitch is linked down below, all my other social medias, and my single player channel linked down below. If you feel so inclined to check out any of my content anywhere else, follow me on Twitter, whatever, always appreciated. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment down below what you think of my legend tiers. I'm probably going to do each tier in order as well, but we'll see how complicated that gets. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start. We're starting off with Alter. I like Alter's ult. I like that, especially if you're knocked and they buffed it so you don't have to be looking at it, that you can transport back. But of course, people can follow you pretty easily, so it's not always super useful if you're being pushed versus you're the one who's pushing against a passive team who won't chase. If you're against a team that chases you and they get knocks, you just have to have a good ultra that's gonna, once you both transport, destroy her ult, and I think that stops it, but not a whole lot of team utility at times. I'm gonna go ahead and, for now, I'm gonna put Alter in C. Feels too low, B feels too high. We're gonna put her in C for now. Then we get to my boy Walter, Fuse. I really like Fuse. I like that his ult gives you information. I like that you can upgrade to get a ring scan from him. He can be good for locking down areas or even stopping a push. Someone's pushing behind you, turn around, pop a knuckle cluster behind you, and it at least slows their push. He is really good at being aggressive. I don't know if he has crazy team ability when it comes to ranked and surviving. I'm going to go ahead and stick him in B for now. Then we have Gibby, who Gibby kind of got a buff when they added the gun shields in the beginning of Season 22, because if you have an LMG with a gun shield plus his arm shield, you have a lot. His bubble's useful. His ult can be good at stopping a push or finishing off a fight. But I'm not super big on how big of a hitbox he has. He feels really slow, even though I know they say all the legends are the same. For now, I'm going to go and stick him in C tier behind Alter. Then we got Horizon, Space Mommy. Everybody's, every sweat's favorite that's not Wraith. She's definitely going to be at least A tier. I think her Black Hole is still fantastic. Her no fall stun makes her great for movement. She's great for being able to push or escape with her Q. We're going to go ahead and stick her in A tier. Some people probably want to see her in S tier. But I'm just not, maybe it's my own bias. I'm not super big on Horizon. Then we got Lifeline. Her passive res is great. It's super frustrating when you're in a long distance fight in ranked. The care package is okay. Her doc is always useful, but until we get the rumored rework, I don't think she's super helpful. I'm gonna stick her in B right behind Fuse. I do like the good loot you can get. With her rework and the rumors of it, she'd probably move up to A, but I'm gonna keep her in B for now. Now we have Loba. Every lonely Apex player's crush. We got Loba with her ult. Her black market's really nice. She's really good for solo queue, which I'm trying to not let influence my opinion too much. But her being able to help the team quickly stack loot, her being able to craft, give your team the ability to craft banners, her being able to get away pretty easily and be able to survive. We're going to stick her in A tier ahead of Horizon. Then we have Mad Maggie, who I think at times is pretty slept on. And her best team ability is the fact that you can rotate faster using her ball. But considering that's an ultimate and that takes a little while to charge up, not a whole lot of team ability here. Good for pushing people out of coverage with her drills, especially if you use her upgrade to get the bigger drill. And really good for being able to destroy things like Gibby's bubble with her ultimate. And then you can even upgrade it to have that like Thermite X pop out. I don't think she's going to be quite A tier for me, but I think I'm going to stick her at the top of B tier ahead of both Fuse and Lifeline. So now we're on to Mirage. Mirage is one of the most frustrating characters, especially for new people to fight against. His invisible res passive is really nice. I His ultimate's confusing, his Q can be confusing. We're going to go ahead and stick him in B tier as well, ahead of Lifeline. Her passive res is nice, but the invisible res I think is going to give him just the edge a little bit, because it's pretty easy to shoot and kill someone on that passive res. Then we have Newcastle. Newcastle is one of the hardest legends to play, or at least master. But his res shield's great, and the fact that his res shield gets stronger, the better knockdown shield he has is fantastic. His ult got that buff with being able to stop small projectiles. His buff is good for rotating back, or his ult, sorry, is good for rotating back to your teammates. He's a hard legend to learn, which makes me hesitant to put him in S tier. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick him in the top of A tier for now, in front of Loba. Then we have Octane, a pub favorite of mine. His jump pad's nice, and his upgrade that gives him the red jump pad, where you can essentially get tap strafe no matter your input, is nice. But he doesn't have a whole lot of team utility other than his jump pad, which, you can rotate with so many other legends so many different ways. His Q hurts him, and his passive does help him, but just not able to provide a lot to the team. He's gonna be our first D tier legend, although I'm tempted to put him at the bottom of C. Then we have Ashe. Ashe is a somewhat slept on legend. I played her for a little while a few seasons ago, and she's gotten a buff since, and her upgrade, the greedy snare, or snare greed, whatever it's actually called, where you can snare the whole team, is strong. She has a rotation ability, which helps get away, plus it helps push, but it is one way. I think Ashe is good. I'm going to stick her behind Horizon because it just feels weird to put her ahead of Horizon, but I think you could switch either one of them in A tier, and I would agree. Then we have Pathfinder, great team utility with being able to rotate. He's able to upgrade to either scan recon beacons or ring consoles. He's able to upgrade his zips so you can move faster along them. He's able to escape from enemies. He does have a big hitbox, which hurts, but I think he's going to go ahead and be our first S tier legend because he's not super hard to learn to play well with. He's got a lot of team utility. Probably the most team utility overall. And if you master him, he is crazy good. Now we have Rampart. Rampart's good if you like to lock down a building or if you're in the end zone. Her being able to share her Sheila's nice. They did rework the Sheila cooldown, but I don't think she isn't able to add movement. She isn't able to really help with reses. Her walls aren't that hard to kill. I think we're going to go ahead and stick her in C tier behind Gibby. Now we have Rev. Rev did get a small nerf, but I still think Rev is a savior for anybody that's really aggressive, makes a bad push. His leap is able to get him into situations he wants to push out of bad situations, and his ult is like adding a shield on top of another shield. His passive, being able to silently crouch walk as fast as normal characters can walk, and being able to climb higher and faster helps his pushes. We're going to throw him in S tier, but I'm going to put him behind Pathy because he doesn't have good team abilities. Then we have Lil Nas X. His passive got a little bit of a buff. His scans are good, not great. He's able to scan recon beacons. He's one of my least favorite legends. I'm going to go ahead and put him above Rampart in C tier, just because Rampart doesn't offer any team abilities where the others in C tier do. I mean, she does have the walls, but now we have Valk that got buffed. She got moved to a recon legend in Split 2. Her passive got buffed. She got some better upgrades. She's, they're trying to counter her being useless because of jump towers. I want to put her in A tier, but I might put her at the top of B tier. She does have good team abilities with her scans. Now she can scan recon beacons. You can rotate out with her. I think we're going to go ahead and put her at the top of B tier. They did also buff the jetpack as well as her rocket swarm, but I'm going to go ahead and leave her at B tier. Now we have Vantage, which is where I really have to try to not get my bias involved. Vantage was my probably my still most played legend. Valk was my first main when I was first playing in the end of season 12, beginning of season 13, and then I quickly moved on to Vantage, who I love.
On a mattress from Mattress Firm.
Her ability to scan, I don't know what that sound is coming from the site. Oh, it's this ad up here. Well, I muted it on the video, but her ability to find information for her teammates, is really good with her passive, being able to see shield levels and how many teammates are alive, being able to mark teammates, as well as with her ult, as well as being able to down enemies and be able to increase the damage of her teammates. Has a lot of team utility, as well as being able to scan recon beacons. The upgrade for being able to scan the this new next circle. God, why am I blanking? I literally just said the words. But being able to get a lot of information for her team is nice. Her rotation ability is really just for her. Her ult does help you open fights and kill quicker. We're gonna stick her in A tier ahead of. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go ahead of Horizon here because that information can be really valuable. I wish I could put her in S tier, but we're gonna go ahead and stick her in A tier. Then we have Watson. Her pylon is super strong. Being able to give your teammates free shields with it is nice. Her passive fences are great for locking down an area. I would say she's probably the best or second best support legend, maybe behind only Catalyst. I really like all of her abilities. Ooh, do I put her ahead of Horizon or ahead of Vantage? She's not going to come in front of Loba or Newcastle for me. I just really like the information and the opening to fights Vantage is able to give. I'm going to go ahead and put Watson in A tier. She's probably the best legend in her category. So now we're going on to Wraith. Wraith is another sweaty player's favorite. Her best team ability is being able to portal people out, and she is able to survive and get out of fights with her Q, but considering it's pretty easy to chase her down, it doesn't offer a whole lot. Some people might not be happy with this, but I think I'm going to stick her in C tier ahead of Gibby, behind Alter. I thought about putting her behind Alter, behind Lifeline, but I just think that she doesn't quite offer a good team utility. And her passive voices definitely did get better, but I think I like where she's at behind Alter. Now we got the old man. We got Ballistic. Ballistic's going right into D tier. His ult is kind of nice, but it doesn't really add too much other than you're not eating through your ammo. And being able to hold a third weapon is nice, but it's just, I don't think it's worth some of the other trade-offs. His Q is nice in a 1v1, but in a team fight, with it only really affecting one person, it doesn't do a whole lot. Because he can't really get away either. I'm going to go ahead and put him ahead of Octane. God, Octane might end up the worst legend. And I hate that, but Octane might end up the worst legend. Bangalore, still S tier. I don't think she's behind. I don't think she's in front of the other two, but the smoke is still great. The ult is great for a long range fight, for being able to cover your 6 while you're getting pushed. Even though they nerf the smokes are still great, especially for rotating at long distances, especially coming from a Warzone player that hates the Warzone smoke meta. It's good for covering for reses. Without the Digi in the game, she got a little bit of a buff there. I don't think she's better than Rev or Pathfinder, but I think she is an S tier legend. Then we have Bloodhound. His scans are definitely the better of the two scans. Beast of the Hunt is a nice ult with the increased speed. Being able to track people's footsteps is nice, especially that you can ping them for teammates. But I don't think he offers a crazy amount of necessary team utility. We're gonna stick him. Oh shit. Okay, good. That saved my progress. We're gonna stick him not in F tier. I accidentally clicked the side button on my mouse, but we're gonna put him at the bottom of B tier behind Lifeline. The scan legend meta just isn't really a thing anymore. Those are the two mobile legends. Especially being that so many legends can scan recon beacons. Scans are nice for opening fights. They're nice for newer players, but as you get better at the game, it's less necessary. We're going to stick him at the bottom of B tier. I don't know if we're going to actually end up with any F tier legends. I think every legend is at least okay. Then we have Catalyst, who... Ooh, I think she's I think she's A tier. I think I'm going to put her behind Watson because her ability to lock down areas isn't necessarily unique, although being able to rebuild the doors that are completely destroyed are nice. I think I'm going to... I mean, she's pretty much tied for Watson. I think I'm going to stick her right here after Watson. I just like the shield. No, because Watson doesn't offer rotation abilities. In fact, I'm actually going to put Wattson at the bottom of B tier the more I think about it. The rotation ability of using her wall as cover is super nice, especially since people can't push through it. It's also good for locking down areas. Her Q is good for locking down areas. Her passive of door rebuilding is really nice. We're going to stick her at B and as the best legend in her class. Then we got Caustic, who, same class. He's going to go ahead of Bloodhound. His ult, another ult that's good for locking down areas, helping prevent a push. His barrels are nice, but they're so easily destroyable. You just shoot one bullet into the bottom that aware players usually don't have a problem with them or get out of them very quickly. And he doesn't offer a whole lot of team ability. He doesn't lock. I mean, he locks down areas, but not as well as fences or the Pharaoh Fluid. I'm going to go ahead and stick him ahead of Bloodhound because I'm just not big on scan legends anymore, but he is going to be up towards the bottom of B tier. Conduit, who other than Newcastle, I think is the best support legend when you're playing good in a team, but she doesn't quite offer as much solo queue capabilities at times. I'm struggling to put her ahead of Loba, but the ability to regen shields in fights is huge. I'm going to go ahead and put her ahead of Loba. There's that shield regen, and she can also lock down areas with her ultimate, which charges fairly fast. One of her upgrades allows you to carry an extra battery, which is great for you and your teammates. It also is better that you could let another teammate get a gold backpack. The only advantage you'd be losing is not being able to carry 3 med kits in one slot. Look at this, a Mono Warfare 2 video down the bottom. Okay, that's not what's important. But my mains right now are Rev, Conduit, and Vantage, so there's a little bit of bias there. But I think Conduit just slips ahead of Loba. And, you notice I have 3 support legends at the top of A tier, and a big part of that is the ability to craft banners. And they offer more team utility for fighting, I think, than Lifeline does or Mirage does. But these are just my personal opinions. And the last legend we're not going to rank the 2 mobile legends. What's his name? Fade, I believe, and Rhapsody. Because mobile's dead and those aren't in the real game or the full game. And finally, we have Crypto, which I am like anti-iPad kid, but the ability to grab banners from a distance, revive people or bring them back, whatever, and from a distance is awesome. Scanning enemies is awesome. And then his upgrade where he can go invisible when he's in his drone is great too. Oh god, where do I want to put him? I think he's gonna go in A tier. I think he's gonna go ahead of Wattson here. I think the legends overall in a pretty good place. You can see A tier and B tier are really full. I think he's a much better legend than he used to be, and the EMP is really nice, except for when my teammate last night while I was playing Apex stunned me on my push in a top 3 situation. But if you have a good coordinated team, he's good. We're going to go and stick him above Ash. I think I'm good with these. I don't think I'm going to rearrange these tiers at all. I think these are the best legends in the game. It was hard for me to put anybody in S tier besides Pathfinder, Rev, and Bang. I considered Newcastle, but he is a little bit hard to master, where I think these other 3 are easier to master. I was contemplating putting Conduit in S tier as well because she offers that extra shield in a fight. She can lock down areas. She can hold the extra bats. She gives you the ability to craft. But I think that like Newcastle locks down an area better, and his revive is so useful that I couldn't put her ahead of Newcastle. And if Newcastle can't go in S, she can't go in S. But I think the legends overall are pretty well balanced right now. I don't think there's even the S tiers. I don't think are crazy OP, especially with the last couple seasons of nerfing Rev and Bangalore a little bit. Horizon, I thought about putting a little higher in A tier, but just the information that you can get from Loba and Vantage are really nice. They're different types of information, but good information nonetheless. She doesn't give you the ability to craft banners. Her ult is good, but any good players know to shoot it. And it was just hard for me to stick her above the support legends I got at the top. Vantage's information, and just her usefulness to a team. And she just doesn't lock down areas. So it was hard for me to put her above the best legend at that. So those are my legend tiers. Some people are going to agree, some people are going to disagree, but I really like where I have everybody ranked. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you like this type of content and want to see it first. I think we're going to try to delve more and more into Apex content, so definitely follow along if you like what I got for you today. But I will see you in the Apex games. Get frying. Have a good day.